Hello there, good people. Patricia here. So glad to be able to chat with you today. And let's talk about alter egos. We all have one. You may not want to own it, but we do. And mine is perfectionist Patty, and she shows up at the most inopportune times. I'm telling you, when that perfectionism shows up, it shows up hardcore, like it had never left the room. Oh my gosh. And when I tell you that is just drives me crazy, drives me absolutely crazy. And let me tell you how much it drives me crazy. Because this whole conversation, I was rolling. I had a great conversation talking about this issue already. What happened to it? Well, my little microphone died on me in the middle of it. So there was no volume at all. And you know that triggers perfectionist Patty big time. And I had to just walk away from it. I was like, there are times when that happens where I'm willing to, okay, take a deep breath, let's dig right in and like redo it, but not that day. That day it was like, yeah, no, I'm done for today. So here we are, returning to the scene of the perfectionist crime and talking about what happens when that perfectionism hits you at the most inopportune times, how to handle it, how to reel it back in, and tell them to take a seat somewhere else, right? But before we go down that road, please remember to hit the like and subscribe to be able to share this out to more people, to hit so that you can be reminded that, hey, I like that content. Let me go see what Patricia's talking about, as well as to bring others into the fold as we continue to have conversations about who we are as whole people, both as professionals, as um, you know, individuals, uh, in our leadership roles, as we build our relationships to support our leadership roles, how we, live more empowered lives and do so in a way that we can really take care of ourselves in the process. I know a lot of things, but absolutely this gel of all the things I love to share on and to be able to do so here in a more informal way. Okay? All right. Now, let's talk about this informality and this perfectionism because literally in my prior series of work, my Coffee Time Career Chats, which I invite you to go check out, is a huge library of career development topics that are extremely helpful, still relevant, and it's just great stuff, if I must say so myself. But in doing that, the first time, I had been doing that for years, and it was definitely structured because literally that's just how my brain works, right? Like, you know, point one, intro, point one, two, three, outro. And that comes from my training, not just as a lawyer, but my training all the way back to speech writing when I was in high school, right? So all of that blends together, and why that made that so much easier for me to engage in from that perspective, because I was used to laying things out in an outline and following them. And so that's what I would do. So even though in some cases it may seem it not totally like I was unscripted, because clearly there was a path, I'd be like, okay, first point and a second and third or whatever. But I could speak more off the cuff. Again, that's based on my training from speech, right? And so I could make that flow. But I always had that outline. And if something happened and didn't, I'd be like, oh, but should I redo this? Or, that didn't quite go the way I thought. And so I'd have to reel it back in. So fast forwarding to this project now, where the challenge for me, that I accepted from the person who's challenge who put the challenge out there, was to go unscripted. let's let's go unscripted from this. That doesn't mean you don't give thought to it. It just means I'm not going to be writing out specific notes and thoughts and ideas about where I'm going to go. And like, I've never been one to read from because that's not how I was trained. So I'm not necessarily going to read, but definitely referring them. So my challenge for me was totally to go completely unscripted. I started off trying to do that with just a few notes. And I'm like, nope, because then I start getting into these very specific things that might not be really where I want it to go, or it may seem more formal, which is the whole point of this new series, is to be more informal so I can share more stories and be a little more open, than I might have been on the previous set of work. So that's been my own challenge, right? And that bugs perfectionist Patricia a little bit, because things happen when you're not scripted. So, you have to do little things like remembering to write notes about, here are all the things you need to make sure that you have. And this is not even the right one, but here are all the things, here it is. Here are all the things that you need to make sure you have in order to do this. Because I'm not sitting at my desk, I'm not having all of these things. So I'm just coming in off the cuff and I'm like, okay, so I got to make sure, I have my phone or my camera or whatever I'm using, my notes if I'm using notes, my mic, my lights, my water, tea, the stand, like all these little things. And why? Because not just because I'm a little ADD, but it's also because when I'm trying to remember to be more of a loosey goose, there's still certain things you got to have. And when I tell you this thing right here has wore me out more than ever, oh my gosh. I am so looking forward to upgrading my situation. I have a podcast mic and all of that, but it's a little bulkier, it's a little harder to set up, all of that. But when I get that all worked out so that I don't have to be guessing about whether my mic is on or not, or whether it's connected, or because I've changed and I forgot the mic was attached to the other things. Yeah, these are the things that make, the perfectionist in me like really, really crazy. And I've learned over the years that I have to let some of that stuff go, because guess what? Messy still works. It does not have to be perfect. As a matter of fact, perfection is a false narrative. And it's something that I've had to definitely work more and more to understand and to recognize it in my own life, because it is more than likely based on some random person's idea of conventional wisdom. And so when I talk about conventional wisdom, it's the whole, well, oh, we have to do this because it's always been done this way, or this is the way it should be done because it's always been done this way. And sometimes, a lot of the times, in order to really jump forward in our lives, you got to let go of conventional wisdom. You got to let go of that statement of, oh, but this is the way it's always been done. And when I say that, it's not in a harsh, shut up, sit down type of way, but more a way that you personally to get more curious about why you think it has to be done a certain way, because your mom said that, because your boss said it, whatever. At work, are there protocols for certain things? Sure. And new companies are built every day because of someone's creativity and thinking outside the box about something that had become the status quo. Like whole companies die and go away because they become inflexible. They become so addicted to routine and the way things should be that they can't adapt, and they disappear. Hello, Blockbuster. I'm like, we have streaming services. No one knew what a streaming service was 10 years ago? Are you kidding me? Right? Much less 20 years ago. How we watch TV, how we engage with music. Oh my gosh. I have whole tape, cassette, and CD collections. I still have them. Some of them, sorry. I mean, like Lionel Richie on 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 tape and Whitney Houston on tape. Are you kidding me? Like, yeah, I still I keep some of that stuff. And but do I have some place to play it on? The CDs? Yes, I do still have a CD player around here somewhere. But the cassette tapes, like you got to go find some place to do that. Not because music has gone away, but because the avenue for which it's and the pathway for which it's carried and delivered has shifted. And when you get stuck with a certain thing going a certain way, that is dangerous in so many ways for you personally, professionally, because it makes you inflexible, it makes you less likely to adapt, and it challenges how you can interact with folks. So, what gets us to that stuck phase and even being afraid to shift from it, right? Because things have to be this way, right? It's got to be, quote, just perfect. Remember, perfection does not exist. Things may be just right for a moment, and then the scenario can change and it can be completely wrong, right? So, a moment in time. Here's some of the reasons I know that I have dealt with and other folks that I've talked to, especially clients, is a lot of time it comes down to fear, being scared of like what the outcome might be if you don't follow a very specific path or what's been defined as the just right way to do something. Fear's, a huge thing that keeps us stuck. It can be a great motivator sometimes, but it can also be something that keeps us from moving, from taking action. Procrastination. And some people might say, well, wait, I'm not going to knock procrastination and this huge nasty thing because a lot of times people will assign it with the term laziness. But the reality is, man, and this was just mind blowing when I learned this, from some folks that I follow. Procrastination is literally the same coin as perfectionism because procrastination is putting off something. And most people align it, like I said, with that negative tone of, oh, they're just being lazy, so they're not doing it. No, procrastination is greatly aligned, same coin, flip side of perfectionism. Because when you want to make sure things are being done just the right way, and you don't feel like you can get it done just the right way, or you're scared, then you put it off to another time that allegedly is going to be when things are going to be perfect to make it happen. See what I just did there? Doesn't happen. Most of the time, it does not happen. When I learned that, I was like, oh my gosh, just like mind blown because I could see that in my life, in my work, where I would let things pile up. And hey, just so you know, I'm a recovering perfectionist. I have not conquered it. That is a daily journey. Okay, just a reminder, recovering perfectionist over here. And because it still bubbles up where all of a sudden you can get overwhelmed. That's another factor that'll show up, right? You get overwhelmed by all the options or the challenges, and it's like, oh, wait, okay, so I don't know. Let me just put that off till next week. And when you start that snowball of putting things off, then that also builds stress, which is absolutely going to lead to something not being in the quote perfect moment. Because when you start responding to stress and the pressures of something, you can forget it because your mindset is completely different. Your focus becomes different, and you start being absolutely much more reactionary as opposed to being proactive in how you can move forward, right? Perfectionism is a really fascinating. I encourage you to do some work and do a little research, a little homework of your own on it. And absolutely journal, about what are those moments that cause you to have that, oh my gosh, this has got to be just right or it's not going to work, moments. We all have them. It's okay. No shame here. Because when I tell you it pops off on me at the most inopportune times, I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And so, how do you move past that? It's literally one thing. Take one step. It almost doesn't even matter what it is, but whatever the thing is that you're that you want to accomplish, that you want to move forward on, but you're like, I can't because it needs to be just right. Once you explore, like, why are you thinking this needs to be, quote, just right before you can get started or before you can take the next step, and then say, okay, all things, equal, what are two, three, four things that could be done? And once you identify that, do one of those things. Just do one. And do not try to do it, quote, perfectly. No, just do it. Messy as hell. However it comes out, just do it. Because that is what we need. Like that momentum to say, oh my gosh, that was so not pretty, but I got it done. On my desk, I have one of those lovely little freestanding placards, and it says progress over perfection. I have had it on my desk for years. Sometimes I forget to see it. It's there, but I don't see it. But there are other moments when it just catches me and I'm like, and this is the reminder. This is the reminder. Progress over perfection. On my bookshelf, I have another little placard that talks about um, today, I'm just going to focus on the things that are within my control, right? Because so much that we're also concerned about things being perfect also have external things that we are making up stories about, which then cause us internally to not be able to take action on. Y'all, it's a whole thing. It is a whole thing. It's so fascinating. I'm going to try to remember to put in the description or in the notes a link to what one of my favorite folks, the Rules and Rebellion folks over on Instagram, Tasha and Brandon. They're, first of all, I love them to death, y'all. They are so raw and authentic and honest. But they work with folks who are, dealing with perfectionism and um, managing burnout and their energy from trying to be perfect all the time. It's great conversations, and I'm pretty sure they have something on perfectionism. I'll see if I can find something to link up to. But those are the things. Like, you just have to reel it in, have a little chit chat with yourself. I still have those. It happens. Like, girl, what's really going on here? Okay, so let's let that go and let's do one thing, right? I have that with a project currently. It happens. It's called life. And like I said, recovering perfectionist journey. That's what I'm on. Okay. So I would love to hear your comments. What are your areas that get you all tangled up in perfectionism? I'd love to hear what some of those sound like, and how you address it. And if you don't, how you like to address it. And maybe we can have a chat about that. All right. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. But each and every day, also remember to celebrate who you are in all the ways and all the things that you do, because it's truly your empowering moment each and every day. And I ask you and invite you to step into that. All right. Take care, and we'll talk again tomorrow.